big issue in Socorro was school overcrowding. The solution was on today's ballot. We'll tell you the outcome.
Over lunch, two incoming leaders talk about solutions that may improve U.S.-Mexico relations.
Americans think back to a sorrowful day 25 years ago, a day never to be erased from memory.
And Missouri comes to El Paso to huddle with a winning coach, but will he be joining another team?
For these stories and more, please stay with us for News 7.
Thinking about flying to Phoenix? If these 10 reasons don't convince you to fly Southwest Airlines to Phoenix, maybe this one will. Southwest Airlines. It's like having your own company plane.
This is not an ordinary truck. It's a new Chevy truck. Your Southwest Chevy dealers have a huge inventory of 89 Chevy trucks with 350 cubic inch power, electronic fuel injection, and it's available in all full-size trucks. It's powerful, stylish, and affordable. Even more affordable is up to $2,100 savings with $300 cash back. Test drive a Chevy truck and find out why 25% more Americans bought Chevy trucks last year. Only at your Southwest Chevy dealers.
A lovely young princess named Snow White.
Walt Disney's most beloved fairy tale comes to life in an enchanting show for the whole family. Walt Disney's World on Ice, starring Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And on Thursday, December 1st, all kids under 12 with a full-price paid admission will receive a handy Mickey backpack just like these kids have, absolutely free. It's your gift. Compliments of KVIA 7 together. For a lifetime of family memories, see Walt Disney's World on Ice.
I'm Leon Metz, and this is downtown Mexicali, Mexico. Today it has about 1 million people, but in 1910, the main source of entertainment was to stand out in the middle of the street and grin.
Live from the KVIA TV Telecommunications Center, this is the most watched late newscast in West Texas and southern New Mexico, with Julia Hilder, Gary Warner, John Faucett with weather, and Fred Albers on sports.
Good evening. It took 2 tries, but voters in the Socorro School District have approved a $50 million bond issue to build new schools.
News 7's Roy Ortega reports live from our newsroom that the outcome of today's election is dramatically different from last September's tie vote. Roy?
Well, Julia, Socorro School District officials tonight are expressing a collective sigh of relief following passage of that bond issue, one that will provide financing for 8 desperately needed new schools. The school district is currently experiencing explosive growth, and in fact, within the next 5 years, the district's 12,000 student population is expected to swell to more than 18,000. Already, severe overcrowding conditions are occurring, and officials argued that passage of the bond issue was absolutely crucial to the survival of the district. This is the second time that voters had been asked to vote on this issue this fall. In September, the measure failed when the final vote tally resulted in a tie. The final count in today's election showed the bond issue passing by a margin of 55% to 44%. Needless to say, school officials are jubilant over the outcome.
Yeah, I think today represents a victory for the children of Socorro. It means that the children will not have to attend classes in overcrowded classrooms, won't have to get up very early in the morning to go to split shifts, and won't have to go be subjected to year-round schools.
And so that's the story from Socorro today. The $50 million bond issue passes, and school district officials say getting on with the education of children there will be a lot easier. Roy Ortega, News 7.
Thank you, Roy. The River Run school controversy apparently is not over yet. El Paso School Board members tonight voted to continue seeking other possible sites for a new middle school in the Upper Valley, but did not eliminate River Run as a possible location. Residents in the Upper Valley have strongly opposed the site because they consider it a bad place to put a school. Acquisition of the land is also in question. On October 28th, M-Bank filed to foreclose on the property, further complicating the issue. Tonight's school board action directs the administration to continue studying other alternatives while keeping River Run on the list. Julia?
Gary, the president-elect wants to continue improving U.S. relations with Mexico, wasting little time. George Bush met today in Houston with incoming Mexican President Carlos Salinas de Gortari. The two leaders talked over lunch in a quick get-acquainted session. Bush calls the encounter the first of many important bilateral meetings he plans with world leaders. Salinas, in turn, calls his session with Bush an opportunity to launch a new phase that will strengthen ties between the two countries. Meanwhile, the president-elect says he has made no decision. Despite rumors, a new defense secretary has been chosen. Published reports indicate former Texas Senator John Tower will get the job.
It is certainly no secret anymore just what the Air Force's B-2 bomber looks like. Today, before a crowd in Palmdale, California, officials rolled the sleek craft from hangar darkness into the light of day. There is speculation the bomber has two wings bolted together, no fuselage, no tail, and on a radar screen it is supposed to look like a bird in order to avoid detection.
There may be some small components that are being checked out at the last minute, but basically that's an airplane that will fly.
When's it going to fly?
As soon as it's ready, where there's no date that we've established for the first flight. It will probably be in a couple of months, but we're going to fly it when it's ready to fly and not any time before.
Although the secret is no longer, today's rollout was still not close up. The crowd had to view the stealth from a distance of 200 feet.
Two men are spending their second night in the El Paso County Jail after being arrested late yesterday for allegedly selling cocaine to undercover agents. The West Texas Multi-County Narcotics Task Force confiscated 21 pounds of high-grade coke in the bust. The street value is almost $1 million. Felix Herrera and Robert Deron, both of El Paso, were taken into custody at about 10:30 last night. Their arrests signal a victory of sorts for the task force.
It's a big bust for us in that it is a cooperative investigative effort by many different agencies, and it shows that these agencies working together can have some small impact on the narcotics problem in El Paso.
The bust is the second largest for the task force since last February. Herrera's bond is set at $1 million. No bond was set for Teran.
A religious organization has filed the first major legal challenge to the immigration reform law. The American Friends Service Committee, a Quaker organization which administers several programs that assist undocumented workers, filed the suit today in Los Angeles. The group wants the employer sanctions provision of the U.S. Immigration and Reform Act removed. El Paso attorney Carlos Spector, who represents the local Quaker chapter, says the employer's sanctions violate the religious organization's freedom of religion by interfering with its mission.
But I think the broader philosophical victory is that where it shows the immorality of this law, that for the first time in the history of this nation since we've abolished slavery, someone can go to jail for working. That is to say, someone who falsely secures work, fills out those forms falsely, is now a criminal.
Hispanic groups who fought long and hard against employer sanctions are embracing the lawsuit. State LULAC Director John Garcia of El Paso says the law forces employers into an enforcement role.
I think that the better way of taking care of displacement of American workers or Mexican workers coming to the United States to take jobs from the United States, which is the premise of employer sanctions, is to help the Mexican people with their economy so that they won't have such a need to come over here.
If successful, the lawsuit could have far-reaching effects on enforcement of the immigration law. Officials say that without employer sanctions, the law has no teeth.
When we come back, Americans look back. A country's sorrow continues long after the murder of a charismatic leader.
We'll take you back to the same Dallas street that after 25 years is alive with memory and tribute.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
For El Paso, Horizon City, and San Elizario.
This is the late report of News 7.
The folks at Smith's know that Thanksgiving is hectic enough. So we're doing our part at every Smith's to make your shopping easier by extending the hours of ending long checkout lines. Now you'll get rush hour service 12 hours a day until we close at 3 on Thanksgiving. So take advantage of our lower prices and our shorter checkout lines. Because Smith's knows that a long wait in line is no holiday.
Smith's, we are the one.
testing thousands of patients every year. One person at a time. When you need the services of a full medical laboratory, ask for us by name. Path Lab.
She won't play house. She'll build them. She's smart, ambitious, and fiercely independent. When she's ready to change El Paso's skyline, her loan application might not look so good to some committee in Dallas, New York, or Tokyo, but the decision will be easy for a fiercely independent local banker who knows her. Texas National Bank and Coronado Bank. We believe in the future of El Paso.
Volvo, one of the safest cars in the world, is also one of the most affordable. Drive away an '89 Volvo 240 for just $269 per month at Bob Hoy's.
You might have been asked today to recall where you were and what you were doing 25 years ago on this date. Those who were old enough may have heard about the assassination while at the market or in school. Others were glued in disbelief to television sets. Americans today looked back with tribute and ceremonies in cities and towns everywhere. A quarter of a century later, traffic was backed up along Elm Street in Dallas, the same street John F. Kennedy traveled before being shot to death. At Arlington Cemetery, Kennedy's sister Eunice visited the slain president's grave. Even though 25 years have passed, Americans share vivid memories of that fatal day.
Something has happened in the motorcade route. There's numerous people running up the hill.
Kennedy's widow, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, and family attended a private mass in New York today.
A memorial service at Fort Bliss National Cemetery is El Paso's formal tribute to the memory of JFK. At the same time of the day, the fatal shots rang out 25 years ago in Dallas. The colors were presented here in El Paso to open the Veterans of Foreign Wars Memorial Ceremony. Retired Colonel Joseph Rodriguez, a Congressional Medal of Honor winner, placed the wreath honoring the man who was the youngest president in the nation's history. El Paso County Democratic Chairman Tom Diamond recalled the magic of Kennedy, who Diamond says was as loved throughout the rest of the world as he was in his own country. As we look back tonight at John F. Kennedy and his tragic death, we also look back at the man linked to his murder.
We get this report tonight on the life of Lee Harvey Oswald.
He could be brought to trial just 2 days later. Oswald was murdered by nightclub owner Jack Ruby, right in the basement of the Dallas Police Department. The Oswald killing shocked a nation already numb from the loss of a president. But Lee Harvey Oswald had led a troubled past. A school psychiatrist in New York labeled a young Oswald as a schizoid personality. In September of 1956, Lee Harvey Oswald enrolled here at Warren Easton High School. There are no records of problems, no stories of maladjustment. But just 13 days later, just before he turned 18, Lee Harvey Oswald quit school. Oswald said he was moving to San Diego, but he didn't. He was frequently seen at this French Quarter bar, and for a time lived here on Exchange Place in the French Quarter with his mother. Oswald finally did join the Marines in 1956 and served in the Philippines and Japan, but he caused problems and had to be disciplined. He later ended up in Russia, married a Soviet woman, and worked in an electronics factory. Those who knew him said he was pro-American. When he returned to the U.S., he was pro-communist. Back in New Orleans, he lived here at 4907 Magazine and would be arrested handing out pro-Castro leaflets. In the arrest book, he lied and gave his nationality as Cuban.
And tonight, immediately following News 7, there was a 1-hour special on Lee Harvey Oswald entitled Lee Harvey Oswald on Trial. There's more ahead on this edition of News 7. New direction for Canada won't be that new.
But the Prime Minister vows to give the people what they want. And if you want a mild day tomorrow, John says you've got it. John?
That's right. Tomorrow and the first part of Thanksgiving Day. Then the winds pick up.
From now on, there'll be a change in me. My walk will be different. My
this exquisite eyeshadow kit free with any Regis perm.
Discover what millions of women throughout the world have found in Neosome Système Anti-Age from Lancôme Paris. Neosome, the daytime skincare system that makes your skin look and feel younger. Microspheres that target the skin surface layers to make your skin feel softer and smoother.
With Neosome, you will see and feel a younger looking skin. Neosome Système Anti-Age, Lancôme, Paris.
Available at Dillard's.
This week at Rudolph, we have a great selection of brand new 89 Camaro RS Sport Coupes for just $11,795. You can drive home a new Camaro RS equipped with special IROC equipment, air conditioning, AM/FM stereo cassette, power door locks, plus much more for only $11,795. Come in today while the selection is best and pick out your new 89 Camaro RS Sport Coupe for just $11,795. And remember, they're at both Rudolph Chevrolet in El Paso and Rudolph Chevrolet Oldsmobile in Alamogordo.
You could buy an ordinary ring from an ordinary jeweler.
Or you could have a ring that's yours alone from Tiara Jewelry and Gallery, where nothing is ordinary.
Rescue shelters are open tonight, and residents along Florida's Gulf Coast are being warned about Keith. Forecasters expect the tropical storm to hit before dawn, and state officials don't want to be left without an emergency game plan. Today, forecasters issued a tropical storm warning that stretches from Cape Sable at the state's southern tip north to Cedar Key on the Gulf Coast. Keith has enough power to dump up to 5 inches of rain and swell tides of 4 feet down the coastline, just in case they are getting prepared. What does it look like right now?
Well, we've got some graphics to show you later on in the weathercast, radar and satellite, showing exactly where Keith is right now. Here in El Paso, the best thing to talk about is the nice weather, and even tonight, though it was cold, we had something to light us up and make us feel warm. The Christmas lights went on, the Christmas tree, 65-foot tall tree down there in San Jacinto Plaza. Yes, if you felt cold, you had to feel warmer looking at that. Now, the high temperature in El Paso, 63 degrees after a cold morning, low of 22. We'll almost reach that tonight. Record high 80 degrees occurred in 1897, record low 20 in 1979, so we were only 2 degrees away from the record low. No precipitation today, just a trace for November. The next storm at this time appears to be dry. Could we get through November with just a trace? Well, we're not that far from the end, although the extended outlook does not reach to the end of November in my forecast, so something could still pop up. 10.38 inches so far for 1988. Clear skies currently under the city with a temperature of 35 degrees and cold already at the airport. Relative humidity 33%, barometer at 30.17 inches, and steady winds are out of the southeast at 6 miles per hour. High temperatures across the country were, well, not bad for November, especially in the southwest and in the southeast. In the 70s from Southern California into southern Arizona, that's headed our direction, should reach us by Thanksgiving. 0 this morning, not above, not below, but 0 degrees for the nation's lowest reading. That was in Gunnison, Colorado. 86 in Miami, Florida for the nation's warmest temperature. The upper flow at the jet stream level shows a lot of energy out there in the Gulf of Alaska just waiting to come on shore. Trouble is, there's a split in the energy. Some of it goes north, some of it stays even and goes east into the United States. But the split is kind of moving further inland, so the storms will hold together one by one. This one right here seems to be surviving that old split. And therefore, as it moves into the western sections of the United States, a lot of snow in the mountainous regions. The weather extremes seem to be from the northwest over to the southeast and nothing in between. That's where we are. Well, we'll take a closer look at the western or northwestern section of the country, where heavy snow is expected in many of the mountain ranges. Winter storm warnings from the mountains of northern California, including the Sierras, all the way up into the Cascades of Washington, central and southwestern Idaho and northwestern Wyoming. Lots of snow to be had and lots of wind because of this cold front. A lot of change in pressure behind and in front of the cold front. Therefore, the winds will be gusting. Now, the other end of the country, there is Tropical Storm Keith, less than 50 miles from Tampa, Florida, heading close to that city and is moving towards the northeast, probably make landfall very quickly within the next couple of hours or so. It's already been affecting Florida in the form of moderate to heavy rains for the last several hours. As you can see, according to radar, there it is. And not only a tropical storm do you worry about, but as you do with hurricanes when they hit land, Tropical storms also produce tornadoes, and therefore tornado watch is out for a large section of Florida. Now, as far as the region goes tomorrow, a little warmer. That makes it a little better for most of us. Upper 60s in the lower valley locations and higher up in the mountains. Up there near 60, upper 50s in some cases. 24 for another cold low tonight. Now in El Paso and Las Cruces tomorrow under sunny skies, high temperature 68. 72 Thanksgiving, but the winds pick up in the middle of the day, unfortunately. Another cold front. Hopefully the parade will get by before the winds increase too much. Julia?
I hope so too, but 72 sounds great.
Oh,
Thanks,
yes.
John. News 7 Sports is coming up. Missouri comes to the Sun City to talk with Bob Stull. So is he interested? Stay tuned.
When it comes to low prices on new cars, some deals are real turkeys.
That's why a lot of deals never seem to get off the ground.
And that's why customers are flocking to Mac Massey. During our No Turkey sale, this 1989 Mazda 323 hatchback with 4-speed tinted glass and carpeting is just $149 down and $149 a month. Plus, during this sale, we're giving away a $100 Safeway gift certificate with every new car sold.
So if you're tired of feeling roasted, come on over to Mac Massey.
Mac Massey.
The spirit of Christmas begins with one. It passes from generation to generation. Through families and neighborhoods, through towns and states and nations, until the spirit of Christmas embraces the whole wonderful world. Sunland Park Mall hopes that when the spirit of the holiday season finds its way to your doorstep this year, it brings into your home and your heart the brightest Christmas under the sun.
Christmas bonus? Bah!
No, Uncle. Your Hyundai dealer wants to give you a Christmas bonus, up to $500.
Humbug.
Sometimes you've got to rattle the old boy's chain.
Out of the way, boy!
For a limited time, you can get up to $500 off a new Hyundai Excel. Even apply it to your down payment. But you've got to hurry in.
Why didn't you tell me sooner, you little dickens?
Save up to $500 with factory-to-dealer incentives at your Hyundai dealer. But hurry, time is limited.
When's your sister get out of the hospital? Today. Today? She just went there this morning. That's because it's day surgery at Providence. Oh, bet you it's scared. Nah. Really? Yeah, because they took us all to see the day surgery place. The nurses were really nice. It was all brand new, too. She always gets to do the neat stuff.
Day surgery at Providence Memorial Hospital.
The wheels are in motion to make it safer for cyclists in El Paso. City Council today approved new striping for bike paths along major city streets to better define safety lanes. As the street department resurfaces, it will add the striping to the roadways. Now, Fred, explain a little etiquette to me here. Isn't it kind of bad form to recruit a coach before he's coached the
Well, you
bowl
first
game?
have to ask for the athletic director's permission to talk with that coach. Brad Hovius gave that permission to Missouri officials to talk with Bob Stull. No, this is the time of year when all coaches are recruited and hired and fired.
Even before they've coached that last bowl game?
Yes, this Thanksgiving period is when coaches are traditionally
what
hired
happens.
and fired.
Will he or won't he?